After being in love for 10 years, Henry had always disdained any form of romance. However, on the eve of our wedding, he sent someone to give me a Tiffany bracelet and an exquisite evening gown. I happily took pictures, only to find a greeting card with a name that wasn't mine tucked inside the gown. Just as I was about to contact Henry, I saw a post on WeChat Moments by his childhood sweetheart. The things that belonged to me were just stolen by a thief like that. That's how I learned that Henry had also bought a house for his childhood sweetheart, and the address on the greeting card was downstairs. This gift was supposed to be delivered to room 701, but it ended up with me. I picked up the items and went downstairs. Just then, I happened to run into Henry hugging the woman in his arms and softly consoling her. When Henry saw me, his face turned angry. "Can't you stop being so petty and suspicious all the time? Luna and I grew up together. If we were going to be together, there wouldn't be any place for you long ago. If it had been before, I would have been so angry that I'd make him explain things clearly. But now," I let out a soft laugh and threw the 2 gifts at him. "Then I wish you all the best." The evening gown fell to the ground. Henry squinted his eyes and kicked it away. That kick felt as if it landed right on my face. "If you still want to get married, don't be so petty all the time. Stop making a fool of yourself. Luna and I have something to attend to. Go back and think it over." It was still the same words of blame, but this time, there wasn't the slightest ripple in my heart. After walking out, I posted the photo I just took of the 2 of them hugging in a family group. Then I added another message, congratulating Henry on his new relationship and announcing that our wedding was off. Henry, who rarely replied to messages, quickly explained the photo. "We were just looking at documents together." After that came a new round of blame, accusing me of being sensitive and suspicious. "Sophia, just because I didn't take you with me when I went out to discuss cooperation, do you have to keep making a fuss like this? I'm not going to argue with you about this. I didn't say anything when you went shopping with another man before either." In an instant, our messages were pushed up. My father sent several long voice messages in the group. He kept blaming me every day, saying that it was already good enough that Henry was willing to marry me, and that it was just a mistake that all men would make. After his furious scolding, he also issued a warning, ordering me to make up with Henry. These words kept swirling in my ears. If someone didn't know better, they would think he was Henry's father. After my mother passed away, my father started drinking heavily every day and then cursing at me. I grew up amidst this kind of constant beating and scolding over the years. After meeting Henry, I thought he would be my savior. But these 10 years of our relationship have made me see this person clearly. He is completely different from what he appears to be. In front of Luna, he is a gentle and courteous gentleman, reserving all his love for her. In front of strangers, he has always been polite and modest. But when he's with me, besides obvious disdain, there's mostly aggressive scolding. What he likes most is to blame me in front of a lot of people. Then he enjoys watching me panic and at a loss. Finally, he pretends not to want to argue with me and softly apologizes. This way, everyone else thinks that I'm picking a fight for no reason, and he stands on the moral high ground. But this time, I won't let him succeed. Only those who don't want to leave will keep pestering. I have now given up on loving him, and I won't ask him to come back just because he's with Luna. When Henry came back, he was holding a gift box bag in his hand, along with that evening gown that had been stepped on undirtied. "Why haven't you tittied up? Are you really angry? Didn't you want a gift? This is for you. This dress can still be worn after washing. Stop making trouble with me." He directly threw the dirty evening gown at me. I used to want to have a sense of ritual. I hoped that Henry would remember my birthday, our anniversary, even if it was just having a meal together. But every time I told him, he didn't care at all. I'm already very tired. If you like having a sense of ritual, you can find those kinds of people. I can give you gifts, but I don't like it when you ask for them. Besides, you stay at home all day. What do you need to buy those for? His words implied that he disliked me asking him for gifts. but clearly at the beginning, he said he liked the feeling of being needed by me and also liked me waiting for him at home all the time. In Henry's heart, my status might be even lower than that of a maid. And as for the so-called sense of ritual, he wasn't even willing to spare the time for a meal for me. But in front of Luna, he offers delicate jewelry and beautiful evening gowns with both hands. On my social media account I came across a post by Luna. She was wearing that Tiffany bracelet on her fair and slender hand, and they were holding hands and dancing together. And that evening gown that had been stepped on and dirtied on the ground was now right in front of me. I balled up the gown and threw it into the trash can. I looked at Henry and calmly said, "I don't want to keep clothes that are dirty. I won't want a man who is dirty either." Henry stared at me with a sinister look in his eyes. "Sophia, who gave you the guts to say such things? All the money you're spending now is mine. If I hadn't taken you in, where would you go?" I opened my mouth. In these 10 years, I hardly spent a penny of his. He said he hoped I would always wait for him at home, so I found a part-time job that allowed me to stay at home. Even a lot of the expenses during our time together were paid for with the money I earned. Before I could explain, there was a knock on the door. I was too lazy to pay attention to his aggressive words, and took the cake from the delivery guy. Henry looked over with a cold face, and his expression froze. "Our 10th anniversary? Today is the 10th anniversary of our being together. I started planning how to spend today a few days ago. I even prepared the recipes in advance and ordered a cake. I was looking forward to our first 10 years together." Henry pursed his lips and took the cake from my hand. "There are a lot of things going on in the company. When I have time, I'll take you to the store to choose an evening gown and jewelry." He put the cake aside and took my hand, intending to sit on the sofa beside us. "Sophia, you don't need to worry about those trivial matters. Luna is just my sister. There's nothing between us." "Just a sister?" I still remember our first anniversary together. That day he was drinking with a few of his buddies. When he got drunk, I went to pick him up. Those people asked him if he was willing to give up like that. He said, "Luna said she only sees me as her brother. Since that's the case, Sophia is the best choice." At that time, I naively thought that I could warm his heart. Now it seems that the ending was already doomed. Fortunately, I still have the courage to break up. "It doesn't matter. You can go and deal with the company's affairs." Henry's movements paused for a moment, and he looked at me in surprise. But he was already used to my compromise and didn't think for a moment that I would cause any trouble. He thought that this matter would just pass like that, and he even wanted to have the cake with me. Have some cake. In fact, this is the first time we sat together to celebrate our anniversary. In the past, what I hoped most was that he would come back and accompany me. But now, I want to cut off all ties with Henry and pursue my own life. When I came out of the kitchen again, ready to cut the cake, I realized that I was already alone in the room. The cake that was originally on the table was also gone. He left so suddenly that he didn't forget to take my cake, and he didn't even change his shoes. I walked over and sat down, taking out my phone. Sure enough, Luna's social media account had updated. My period came suddenly, and I wanted to eat a sweet cake. And my night arrived with a cake in 5 minutes. The picture attached was exactly the cake I bought. Henry liked the post. I commented below, "Eat more cake." Then my phone rang. It was a voice message from Henry. "Come downstairs. Luna doesn't feel well in her stomach, and I'm taking her out to buy medicine. Make her a bowl of ginger brown sugar water. Remember to take out the ginger. Hurry up." I was a bit lost in thought as I listened to his voice message. Henry didn't even know what I was allergic to. In the past, whenever there was ginger in the food I made for him, he would scold me for a long time and tell me not to put that thing in, saying that if I were to work as a nanny outside, I would be fired. Now it seems that the person who doesn't eat ginger is someone else. I threw my phone aside and didn't plan to pay attention, but after thinking about it, I decided to go and take a look. Henry was gently massaging Luna's lower abdomen. The moment he saw me, his face darkened. "You were so slow to come downstairs. I really don't know what you can do. Luna reached out and gently covered his lips. Henry, don't say that about Sister Sophia. It was my fault for asking you to come. All right, Sophia, why are you just standing there? Hurry up and make the brown sugar water. If you keep being so petty, our engagement will have to be called off. He left these two sentences behind and walked out, holding Luna in his arms. I twitched the corners of my mouth and let out a cold laugh. It couldn't be better to cancel the engagement with a scumbag. After the two of them completely disappeared, I took a look around the room. In the living room, clothes were thrown everywhere. There was also a set of obviously used sexy lingerie on the sofa, with obvious water stains on it. I forced myself to hold back the feeling of nausea. This was what Henry meant by being busy with the company. It seemed that he was indeed quite busy, but not at the company. Instead, he was in Luna's bed. The decoration of this room was extremely luxurious. Even the sofa was of an expensive and luxurious style, and the bed casually thrown on the table was an international brand. I hadn't forgotten that a few days ago, I had reminded Henry that our 10th anniversary was coming up. He thought I was asking for a gift. He pointed at me impatiently. What 10th anniversary or whatever anniversary it is? Do you still want to imitate young people and celebrate anniversaries? Just cook some food at home. Stop daydreaming. We're about to get married, and we need to save money. Look at who's like you. I'm not a young person. But the two of us also came from our youth. And Luna was not only in the prime of her youth and beauty, but also his first love that he had always longed for but couldn't have. I silently recorded a video of everything here and backed it up on the cloud storage. After that, I went home and started packing my things. After 10 years of being in love, when I thought about it carefully, it seemed that Henry had never given me anything. He said this house was to give me a home, but it didn't belong to me at all. In the end, I left quietly on my own. Those clothes and jewelry were all bought with the money I earned, but he still said that I was vain. Suddenly, I felt that such a relationship was really meaningless. The things prepared for Luna were numerous and expensive. But when I was about to leave, all the things I packed were bought by myself. After packing my suitcase, I sent a message to my childhood friend who was abroad. As soon as the message was sent, the other side immediately called me back. I held back my sobs and said, Isabella, I regret it. He's really not someone worthy of my trust. I want to start my life anew. I want to leave this place. Isabella scolded me a few times and then started scolding Henry. My heart was full of grievances, and it was as if I finally had a place to pour them out. At the beginning, she had scolded me for being love-brained, and said that I would regret it sooner or later. But I stubbornly didn't listen. I still remember the look of disappointment in her eyes when she went abroad. I've booked a plane ticket for you. Hurry up and pack your things and come to me. After Isabella said that, she hung up the phone. I looked at the message on my phone, and tears welled up in my eyes. These 10 years were finally coming to an end. The next morning, Henry still hadn't come back. There were no messages from him on my phone either. I casually stuffed my phone into my bag, took a taxi to my father's place, and planned to take away the things Isabella had given me before. I didn't know if my father had heard something. As soon as I got out of the car, I saw his figure. When he saw me carrying a suitcase all by myself, his brows furrowed and his face was full of anger. He was checking if Henry had come with me. But Henry had always disliked this place. How could he have come along? He looked down on a man like my father, but he was no different from my father. Haven't you apologized to Henry yet? I won't apologize, and I won't marry him either. As soon as I finished saying these words, my father kicked me. I fell to the ground with a thud, and my arm hit the roadside heavily. Just like he had beaten my mother, he kicked me one after another, attracting a crowd of onlookers. He picked up the suitcase beside him and directly threw it at me. You should act like a girl. No matter what, you should listen to him obediently. You're really lucky that Henry took a fancy to you. Look at you, just like your dead mother, always with a gloomy face. You're just thinking too simply. Anyway, you're about to get married. Go back and apologize to Henry and make up with him. Otherwise, I won't want you as my daughter anymore. A gust of wind blew, and I seemed to be drawn into the memories. My father stopped his actions. But he still stood at the door, blocking me from entering. I've already thrown away all your things. Go back now. Don't come back to see me until you're married. What he threw away wasn't just simple things. They were my unique and beautiful memories. Tears fell patter on the ground. I just wanted to take away the only thing that belonged to me. I squatted on the ground and buried my face in my bloody hands. A Mercedes-Benz G-Class stopped in front of the house. Henry pushed open the car door and walked over. He reached out and forcefully grabbed my arm, pulling me up. Does it hurt? You should have thought of it earlier. Besides being with me, where else do you think you can go? Look, even your own father doesn't want you. You can only follow me. Go back and take good care of Luna, and our engagement will still be carried out. He pushed me into the car and slammed the car door shut. There were traces of Luna everywhere in the car. I looked towards the door of the house, and it had already been closed. I once thought that Henry was my Mr. Right, and he would make me forget the hurt from my original family. But I forgot that if someone pulled me out of the abyss, I would surely gaze into the next abyss. He wasn't my savior. I should take back my love. Leaving him, I will live a better life and have a brand new life. While I was silent, Henry's phone kept ringing non-stop. Henry, where have you gone? Didn't you say you'd be back soon? They asked me when we're getting married. Come back quickly and explain. I don't know what to say. Henry coughed softly and turned off his phone in an attempt to cover things up. He looked at me hesitantly and finally opened his mouth. Sophia, there's the company's annual meeting today. You can go and take a look too. In the previous year's annual meetings, Henry would never have asked me to attend. He almost never even let me enter the company. So when he was busy, even if I had something to deal with, I could only contact his assistant. Now, it was really rare for him to say that he wanted me to go to the company's annual meeting with him. I tucked my hair behind my ear and slowly agreed after a while. Okay. The clothes on my body still had stains that couldn't be wiped off, and I went to meet the people from the company with Henry like this. Henry walked ahead in silence all the way, and we didn't have any more conversations. He didn't seem to want anyone to know about our relationship. The moment Luna saw me, her face turned livid. When I walked over, I saw Henry half embracing her in his arms and softly comforting her. I don't like her anyway. I just want her to know how embarrassing she is. After today, she'll know her own situation. Without me, she'll be even worse off. Feeling those undisguised gazes, I was surprisingly calm. Probably because I had received too much coldness and ridicule, I didn't care at all now. I asked the hotel staff for a pot of hot water. I sat in my seat and started drinking the hot water. Just then, the reminder for the plane ticket Isabella had booked for me came. It showed that I would board the plane at 1 p.m. tomorrow and asked me to go to the airport in advance and wait. Before I could finish reading the message, Henry's voice sounded behind me. I didn't even notice when he walked over. A message about boarding a plane. What are you going to do? His voice was cold and stern, and his eyes were fixed on me. I casually deleted the message. It's just junk advertising. Henry's eyes gradually softened. I bet you don't dare to leave. After all, no one likes you except me. The departmental work reports will be next. You won't understand anything if you stay here. You can go home by yourself. Go back and clean up the house. I didn't respond. I just stood up silently and walked towards the door. Luna had been paying attention to my movements. When she saw me stand up, she pretended to be enthusiastic and tried to keep me there. When she came up to me, she pretended to accidentally knock over that cup of hot water. The boiling hot water spilled onto my arm and leg. Hiss. Henry reached out to try and pull me. Suddenly, Luna tilted her body and fell onto Henry, and the two of them embraced again in front of me. That cup of hot water spilled all over me. In an instant, a dull pain swept through my mind. The wetness on my body clearly showed my awkward situation. I rolled up the sleeve of my arm, revealing the reddened skin that had been burned. When I looked up, I just saw Henry picking Luna up and carefully making sure that her high heels didn't step on the water spilled on the ground. He glanced at me, and the tightly pursed corners of his lips seemed to show a bit of apology. "Sophia, how are you? I'll take you too." "Brother Henry." Luna stretched out her small, fair hand behind him and tugged at the hem of his clothes. "You said you were going shopping with me today, and it's not appropriate for you, as the boss, to just leave during the annual meeting, is it?" Sure enough, Henry's movement stopped, and his gaze swept over me. He was more inclined to listen to Luna. "It's just a minor injury. There's burn ointment at home. I can go back by myself." He nodded silently, and his expression relaxed a little. "Then be careful on the way. If it gets serious, go to the hospital. I'll bring you peanut shortbread when I get back. I'm allergic to peanuts." But I didn't want to say more either. Peanut shortbread is something Luna likes. Henry has never remembered that I can't eat peanuts. I can't wait for him to change his mind and care about me. It's better to stop the losses in time and separate completely. When I got home, I carefully applied the burn ointment I bought to the skin covered with red marks. Just like the sadness and grievances of many years, they will all be healed as the wounds disappear. Henry didn't come back all night. Early the next morning, I was woken up by the ringtone of my phone. "Why are you so slow? Are you still throwing a tantrum? What's the matter?" Henry's voice paused for a moment. "I'll be back at noon. I bought you the peanut shortbread from downstairs of the company. And the new Tiffany bracelet. I was in the wrong the other day. We'll be fine from now on." I looked at the time on my phone. "It won't be fine." But Henry didn't give me a chance to speak at all, and the call had already been interrupted. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. I got up, washed up properly, and put on makeup. Then I went to Henry's study. In the study, there was a photo of him and Luna on the table. I clicked in the password that I had already memorized and turned on his computer. I sorted out all the evidence of Henry's infidelity. I made all those photos and chat records into a PowerPoint presentation. I lowered my eyes and clicked on my phone. Luna had updated a post on WeChat Moments. In the photo, the two of them were pressed closely together, with an ambiguous posture. I curled my lips slightly. I sent the organized PowerPoint presentation to all the people in Henry's company through his company email. Then I turned off the computer, picked up all my things. I took a taxi to the airport. When I was checking in, my phone froze due to countless calls. I didn't even need to look to know that it must be Henry calling. I could probably guess what he looked like, flying into a rage right now. And the furious expression of my father. But I didn't want to contact either of them anymore. I turned off my phone and stuffed it into my pocket. My heart was completely calm now. The plane slowly took off, and the city became smaller and smaller. I could no longer see its whole appearance clearly, and those bad memories also became blurred. The wounds brought by family affection and the heart-aching pain brought by love will all fade away with time. Henry won't leave Luna behind, and he definitely won't come abroad to look for me. And my father will just stay at home, drinking and hysterically scolding me and my mother who has long passed away. Even if I leave, no one will really care about me because of that. From now on, the two people who were once the closest to me will both become a thing of the past. During the time on the plane, it was the best rest I had had in a few days. There was no more of my father's aggressive voice, nor the annoyance of Henry's sarcastic remarks. All that was left was the future that I was looking forward to. As soon as I got off the plane, I saw Isabella running towards me with a bouquet of flowers in her hands. She ran over and hugged me tightly. She also saw the wound on me that had just scabbed over. "Sophia, what happened to you? Why is there such a large wound on your body? Did Henry abuse you? It hasn't been that long since I left. How did you let yourself get into this state?" Isabella took the suitcase from my hand and didn't dare to let me carry anything. Her eyes were red, and she hugged me tightly in her arms. I hugged her tightly too. I'm fine. I won't get hurt anymore in the future. Although I said that, I didn't know how to let out the grievances in my heart. For such a long time Isabella is the only person who cares about me unconditionally. They all think I'm being melodramatic. Only Isabella will hold me tenderly with pity. Her emotions affected me, and I also immersed myself in her embrace. Isabella took me to the place where she lived and then immediately showed me the job she had found for me. Sophia, leaving Henry is the best thing you've ever done. There are plenty of men out there. You're still young, and you have infinite hope for your future. No one wants to be a canary for someone else for their whole life, especially since Henry isn't worth it. I bit my lip and nodded heavily. I looked at the clothes on my body. I suddenly remembered that evening gown that had been thrown on the ground. Those glamorous clothes were worn by Luna, and she was always delicate and beautiful. The feeling of being doted on and not having to worry about anything had never belonged to me. What was I doing at that time? I was studying Henry's daily life, doing the washing and cleaning every day. He didn't like others entering his private space, so I took care of all the big and small things at home. Even things like unclogging the toilet and fixing the sewer. I fixed them while studying and looking up tutorials. Later, whenever something at home was broken, Henry would call me to fix it right away. Even when something was broken at Luna's house, he would call me. If I couldn't do it well, he would say that I only knew how to eat, drink, and have fun at home. No one can endure such a life without dignity for a whole lifetime. I didn't say anything for a while, and Isabella squeezed my hand. Don't be in a daze. Those are all in the past. Okay. We held each other's hands tightly. I need to stand up on my own and save myself from that abyss. It was not easy for me to climb out. Naturally, I won't let myself fall into a trough again. According to the information provided by Isabella, I prepared well for the interview. I was already prepared to face rejection everywhere. After all, it had been many years since I returned to the workplace. But after the interview, they were really interested in my resume. Miss Sophia, you are really a capable and interesting person. I wish I could have met you earlier. Congratulations, you've been hired. The words of the interviewer made me completely relax, and I was even more touched in my heart. In front of Henry before, he would just keep suppressing me. No matter what I did, he looked down on it. Then I became sensitive and inferior, and I even denied myself for a while. I never thought that I, who was seen as unbearable in Henry's eyes, would receive such a high evaluation from others. I suddenly found the meaning of my life. Then I threw myself wholeheartedly into my new job. Until I officially completed a project in this company. After the celebration, I went home. I saw an unexpected figure. Henry's appearance made me stunned for a moment. I didn't know how he got my information, but there he was, standing right in front of me. He had changed a lot. The dark circles under his eyes showed that he hadn't had a good rest for a long time. Sophia, why did you do that? Do you know how much effort I've put in and how much I've sacrificed to get to where I am? That's the company that belongs to us, and you've just destroyed it. Do you know how much I've sacrificed for our future? I frowned and looked at him in confusion. Henry, didn't you do all those things yourself? What are you talking about sacrifice now? Can you blame others? I looked at Henry's face with mockery. I noticed that his expression changed from coming to blame me at the beginning to looking completely guilty now. Indeed, how could he not know that those things were betraying our relationship? Luna. I only regard her as my own sister. It's not what you think between us. We grew up together since we were children. Even if there is affection, it's just the affection between siblings. I've always known that only you are the one I want to spend my whole life with, and I only love you. I sneered. What Henry has always wanted is not to be with just one person. His heart won't be given to just one person either. On the one hand, he wants me to stay at home and cook for him, to be his full-time nanny. On the other hand, he wants Luna to satisfy his male vanity outside. He only loves himself. So what? Why are you saying all these things? We have nothing to do with each other anymore. From now on, you go your own way. Whether she's your biological sister or your affectionate sister has nothing to do with me. Henry stood in front of me and blocked my way. Sophia, we've been together for 10 years. I've already regarded you as family. Let's not break up, okay? I know I made you sad because I didn't know the proper boundaries. I'll listen to you from now on, alright? And you were about to become Mrs. Henry. Are you really willing to give that up? You can just ignore me, but aren't you going to care about your father either? His words were full of both threats and inducements. But I didn't care about any of the things he said anymore. I expressionlessly bypassed him. Do as you like. Of course I will support my father. But what does that have to do with you? Family? It's total nonsense. When he got together with Luna, we could never be family to each other again. During the time I was abroad, all I thought about every day was my work. The lingering love I had before was gradually taken back by me bit by bit as Henry cheated on me. Those past memories were like watching someone else's story. Now when I think about it, those past experiences can at most be regarded as my embarrassing history. But judging by the way Henry looked, he didn't want to let go at all. He looked panicked. He simply couldn't believe the words I said. Sophia, it has something to do with me. Come back with me. We'll get married as soon as we get back. I can live stream our wedding and let the whole world know that my wife is you. You can say that the previous thing was just a prank of yours. I'll only love you from now on. So this is what he was waiting for. Since I didn't have a free hand, I kicked him as hard as I could. You really make me sick. You came all the way abroad to find me and talked a lot of high-sounding words. In the end, it's all for yourself, to make your father put all those things on me. You want to pin all those rumors on me, let everyone condemn me, and then you and Luna can disappear happily? Henry still wanted to say something. I turned around and prepared to go home. He reached out to pull me again. His hands tightly gripped my wrist, and he didn't let go even when I bit down on it. If you don't leave, I'll call the police. Only then did Henry let go. It wasn't until I entered the house that I relaxed. Henry stood outside the door for a few minutes, his eyes fixed on the inside of the door. Seeing that I didn't open the door, he finally left reluctantly. After he left, I logged into my Douyin account and wanted to search for Henry's company. Surprisingly, before I could search, the matter was already trending on the hot search list. Luna used to act arrogantly in the company and had offended countless people. As soon as the PowerPoint presentation was sent out, many people with inside information came forward. Luna's name was on the hot search list every day, and almost everyone knew about it. It was said that she didn't even dare to go out now. Henry tried every means to deal with it, but the more he tried to whitewash the situation, the more it was spread by word of mouth. When the company's stock price kept falling, he simply came abroad to find me. I closed my phone mockingly. I should have thought earlier that Henry would never have come abroad for me. He would only waste time on the company and Luna. I blocked all the news related to Henry and continued to work with peace of mind. But Henry still didn't give up. He almost waited at the gate of my community every day, and he also brought gifts to please me. Sophia, this is a Tiffany ring. Didn't you always want their jewelry? I specially bought it for you from the exclusive store. I'll only give gifts to you from now on. I'm sorry for making you suffer these 10 years. The delicate jewelry box was held in his hands as if he was holding the most precious thing. I don't like these at all. What I like is not precious jewelry. I just want blatant preference. I want a home that belongs to me. But in these 10 years, Henry couldn't give me either the preference or the home. But now I don't need them at all. In fact, when a girl becomes strong on her own, she can give herself that kind of preference. Now, facing Henry's overtures, there was no ripple in my heart. Belated affection is cheaper than grass. Sophia, can you really let go of our 10 years so easily? If it weren't for me, your father would have sold you to someone else long ago. Aren't I loving you enough? I turned around and looked at him, pointing to the scar on my body. This burn was caused by the hot water your beloved sister poured on me. This one was a cut when I was installing the glass. I was bleeding profusely, but you just kept scolding me for being a useless person. And this one was from a car accident when you asked me to send a piece of clothing to a banquet. I got hit on the way. I raised my eyes and looked at Henry, wishing I could go up and slit his throat. Do you still remember that piece of clothing? Henry pursed his lips tightly, his hands gripping the gift box. He remembered. That banquet was originally for people to bring their families, but Henry thought I would embarrass him, so I didn't go. But he suddenly asked me to send the clothes. The clothes were packed in a box. It was windy that day. I could hardly open my eyes when I was walking outside. Just as I was about to run to the road to take a taxi, I was hit by a car that suddenly rushed out. Before I could call the police, Henry kept urging me desperately. I had no choice but to go to the banquet first. But when I arrived at the banquet, I saw Henry holding Luna's hand standing in the entrance hall. Can just anyone show up at the banquet? Why haven't the security guards here kicked this person out yet? Hanjai turned his head to look at me then, frowning with undisguised disgust in his eyes. What on earth do you look like? You're so embarrassing. Give me the things and get out of here. Later I found out that the clothes in the box weren't Henry's suit. It was a dress prepared for Luna. Henry took a step forward, wanting to refute me. Sophia, those things are all in the past. We should look forward. And are you really without any fault? I let out a soft laugh. Henry was really good at shifting the blame. All the problems between us would eventually be attributed to me. He always thought that I was with him just for the money. But when it came to Luna, he would offer her what he thought was the best with both hands. But when it came to me, he only thought that I didn't deserve anything. Even his infidelity became my fault. I looked at him seriously and said word by word. I really shouldn't have fallen in love with you. That was really my biggest embarrassing history. Henry's expression changed in a panic, as if he knew that I was really determined to cut off all relations with him. Sophia, don't say that. Look at what Dad said. Henry handed me his phone, which showed the chat records with my father. In the voice message, my father's tone sounded a bit defeated. Sophia, Dad is doing this for your own good. Henry is a nice guy. I treated you like this because of your mother. Make up with Henry quickly and come back to get married. Husband and wife should support each other in life. Dad promises you that as long as you come back, I won't drink anymore. In the phone, my father's tone was desolate. Henry stood opposite me with a sad expression. Sophia, I only realized that I can't live without you after you left. I'll never meet someone who treats me like you again. I really love you. Maybe I hurt you, but I never thought that you would leave me. Your father is the same. We both love you. Just a simple sentence saying they love me. These two words were like a shackle on me. They did things that hurt me in the name of loving me. Should I accuse their love of being cheap? Or is this what is called deception? I interrupted his nonsense. Shut up. I can love myself now, and I don't need your so-called love anymore. Your so-called love will only suck my blood. I won't believe you. I just realized how happy I am to be away from you. When I was a child, my father would beat me when he was drunk, and he would coax me when he sobered up. But he never changed. Henry won't either. Every time he pretended to give in, he would humiliate me even more the next time. Henry stared at me with a deep gaze, and there was a kind of love in his eyes that I had never seen before. It was something that I had always wanted the most. Finally, after I completely let go, he condescended to give me a little bit of it. Sophia, I really love you. From the beginning to the end, the position of Mrs. Henry was reserved for you. I was just a bit lost in their admiring eyes and forgot my original intention. Henry said that he had just walked for too long and forgotten the way he came. He thought that I would always stand where I was and wait for him. He was really arrogant and disgusting. No one will always stand where they are and wait for you to grow up. Henry's thin lips parted slightly. You said you would never leave me. Henry was gambling. He was gambling on my love and dependence on him, so he never thought that I would leave him. Now you know that I have no feelings for you at all. I won't hate you either, because we'll be strangers from now on. As soon as I said these words, Henry's face turned even paler. He never appeared in front of me openly again. But he would put gifts in front of my door as if nothing had happened. After I left, he suddenly knew how to please me. But I didn't want this kind of harassment, so I finally chose to call the police. Henry was deported back to his home country, and his company was already on the verge of bankruptcy. But my work was steadily progressing. Henry still contacts me from time to time. I got so tired of it that I blocked one of his phone numbers after another. He began to pour out his love for me and kept reflecting on his past behaviors. He bought a farm and started to take good care of it carefully, because I used to say that I wanted to grow some vegetables when we got old. Sophia, these are all the things you like. I know you've always wanted to do this the most. Now I'm doing it for you. As long as you come back, we can do it together. The scenery of the farm is very beautiful. But the more so, the more it reminds me that he clearly knows how to love someone, yet in the past, he wasn't willing to give me even a little bit of that love. Isabella inquired about the situation in our home country for me. Henry has sold all his shares in the company. When Luna saw that he had sold the shares, she made a big scene and then wanted to marry him, but Henry refused. When Luna forced him to get married, she accidentally fell downstairs. She died on the spot. Henry took care of her funeral arrangements. He often goes to visit my father, but my father beats people when he's drunk. He also tells Henry that he must bring me back, or else he'll beat him to death. But all these things have nothing to do with me anymore. I stood up and looked out of the window at the white snow. I don't care at all about what they're doing now. However, it's snowing. I can ask Isabella to go skiing with me. Who wants to feel sentimental about the past? I'm going to embrace a wonderful future.